Now, stumble across one of the largest tuna ports in the world, which lands bluefin tuna, the most expensive fish on the planet. Just one of these fish sold in Tokyo's fish market for over $3 million. They were like the cheetahs of the ocean, warm-blooded, and can accelerate faster than a Ferrari. But due to high prices, the only direction they were accelerating in was into extinction. Today, less than 3% of the species remain. They were once thriving just decades ago. It's not just bluefin though, it's all tuna. There's everything here. This is sold around the world. This is a $42 billion a year industry. And it's at threat from overfishing. Of course they're gonna blame the dolphins. The excuse of killing dolphins for the crime of eating too many fish is a lie. In reality, what they are doing is killing dolphins as a scapegoat for the overfishing. That way, they can continue participating in the multi-billion-dollar tuna industry, and wash off any ecological responsibility. One of the world's largest tuna companies belongs to Mitsubishi, who control 40% of the world's endangered bluefin, which are based in Japan. Tuna aren't the only highly prized species they are landing. Sharks are everywhere, and they are all having their fins sliced off. The shark finning industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry and is oftentimes heavily criminally involved and mafia-esque run. They don't want people with cameras sniffing around because they don't want to get exposed for all of the shady things that they do. So sharks around the world are being killed for their fins. These fins are being shipped to Asia, and predominantly China, for shark fin soup, which is held as a status symbol. It has no nutritional benefits, it really doesn't taste like much, and it can cost anywhere upwards of $100 a bowl. Just a hop over the ocean from Japan is Hong Kong, otherwise known as Shark Fin City. The streets are filled with shark fins, and huge quantities being offloaded from trucks on every corner. People should not be afraid of having sharks in the ocean. They should be afraid of not having sharks in the ocean. The sharks keep the oceans healthy. They keep the fish stocks healthy. They keep the ecosystems alive. They keep the coral reefs alive. If we don't have these sharks, if these sharks get finned into extinction, the ocean's gonna turn into a swamp. And guess who's gonna die next? Us. And a lot of people would think I'd be the last person to stand up for sharks. For the first time ever, sharks are in danger of going extinct because of us. Like bluefin tuna, shark populations are crashing, with species like thresher, bull, and hammerhead sharks losing up to 80 to 99% of their populations in just the last few decades. And it is causing other unlikely species to die out with them. Over the period that we've been monitoring seabirds, since about 1950, the abundance of seabirds has declined by about 70%. And if you look at how they feed, you can understand why. And what they do is they kind of lightly dip down to the sea, and they pick little fish off the surface. And where seabirds are doing their best is where predatory fish are driving shoals of tiny bait fish to the surface, where the terns can get them. When you overfish the predators, they no longer drive the shoals to the surface, so there's not enough food for the birds. So the loss of fish across the world's oceans is bringing us into direct competition with whales, dolphins, seabirds, for prey, and that's causing their populations to decline even further. Sharks are apex predators. So they're at the very, very top of the food chain. They are called level 1. They eat level 2. They eat the poor, the sick, the weak of level 2. But when you take away level 1, level 2 then overpopulates. And level 2 eats level 3. So they'll actually overpopulate. they'll wipe out their food supply, which is level 3. And then, level 2's got nothing to eat. So level 2 then disappears, and they go extinct. And it carries on down the food chain, down to the smallest organisms. So, when we talk about saving sharks and how important they are, even though people don't necessarily like them, they are that key to the survival of our oceans. Around the world, on average, sharks kill about 10 people per year. Now, comparatively speaking, we kill 11,000 to 30,000 sharks per hour. The crazy thing is, almost half of those sharks killed are killed as bycatch from commercial fishing fleets. And they're discarded as waste back into the ocean. Bycatch is all the other marine life caught while trying to catch a target species. At least 50 million sharks are caught in nets this way, side by side with our favorite seafood. Studies estimate that up to 40% of all marine life caught gets thrown right back overboard as bycatch, and most of them die before they even hit the water. So, stopping shark fin soup is only half the picture. The problem is that eating fish is just as bad, if not worse than the shark finning industry, because the shark finning industry is strictly held in Asia, whereas everyone around the world is eating fish. Bycatch is the invisible victims of the fishing industry. The industry will call bycatch accidental take, but there's nothing accidental about bycatch. It's factored into the economics of fishing. In those fisheries where we have a better understanding of bycatch, the numbers can be alarming. And so, to give you one example, in Iceland, in a 1-month fishery, that fishery caught 269 harbor porpoises, something like 900 seals of 4 different species, and 5,000 seabirds. And that's just one little fishery in one little part of Iceland. Taken across the world's oceans, the amount of bycatch is huge. So, one of the solutions for saving marine ecosystem is to reduce commercial fishing and bycatch. Hope you understood the importance of our ecosystem. Thank you.